on Drury Lane.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, it was another weekend morning back in the kitchen on Drury Lane. And oh, it was time to make the muffins. Usually, fast asleep am I. But today, this book has captivated my attention. I surely hope that I don't let the muffins in the oven burn. Will you keep a close watch on them for me? Now, I'm reading this book about autism. Have you ever heard about the word autism? It says here that it takes a village to raise a child with autism. Later, we're going to learn about a very important charity called the Crossroads Center for Children that specializes in providing education and childcare for children with autism and special disabilities. But back to this book. It's so fascinating. It says here in this book that a village feeds us. It feeds our souls and our stomachs. The village teaches us and guides us at times and encourages us to keep moving forward each day, one step at a time. It says right here, that it takes a village to raise a child with autism. A beautiful village full of people to love each family and each child along the way. A community of people reaching out to offer support, encouragement, and wisdom. Don't you just love that idea? That idea of a village? I wonder who we can picture in that village that might come together to help raise a child with autism. I wonder. Maybe this village includes the grandparents. Maybe they would take the children for a weekend so that the parents can have just a little bit of needed rest and relaxation. And maybe there is the special friend who comes to babysit on occasion so that the parents can plan or go out for a simple event. And maybe there's the teachers that are in that village who might just send a text message in the morning to just let others know that the child isn't crying. Or they might send pictures of him or her playing. Or perhaps there's the friend who comes over to a home just to cut the child's hair so that he or she can be comfortable in that home environment still. Now, let's not forget the speech and physical therapists who work every day just to simply make sure that the children grow. Now, can you picture the friends who listen and cry and pray, and the other families that might check in just to celebrate certain milestones? And of course, there's the doctors who answer questions and try new treatments and take even evening phone calls and take the time just to get to know each child's likes and dislikes. This village is huge, and it even contains the loved ones that might leave a meal or send a gift card to the coffee shop or just mail an encouraging note. There's even the Sunday school teachers who adapt their normal routines just to include everyone. And lastly, let's not forget that this village might contain strangers. Yes, the stranger that might offer just a smile, just a warm smile to let the parents and the child know that everything is okay. Well, I have to tell you that I had so much fun just getting to see that village that Crossroads Center for Children has created for children with autism at their recent date night at the BL's Tavern in Schenectady, New York. When I stopped to just look in, I could feel the warmth and gratitude. And hopefully, this episode will show just a bit of that warmth that I witnessed, that care and love that Crossroads gives to so many children. Now come along, let's take a peek into that village that Crossroads creates for others. Now, you may recognize Crossroads Center for Children from their recently produced television show. It was produced at SACC.TV. Their program not only focuses on issues of autism, but it also focuses on the daily activities and planned events that they execute and that they give for children with disabilities.
I don't think I've ever seen such a collaboration until I came to Crossroads. I've worked at many different places, but like what Alicia's saying about tackling a PT goal in the gym, well, they're not just even tackling the PT goal and the gym goal, they're also tying in the language and the, okay, well, see if you can, pick that up with your little fingers too. And how do you spell cat at the same time? It's like so woven and integrated, and it's just constantly working on their skills, which is really different from any other situation I've ever seen.
It's nice to be the teacher in the classroom and to be able to look across the way and see the speech therapist actually doing a specific technique with the child to help them to identify objects, and then you're able to carry that over then within the classroom. It's really nice to have that staff in the classroom with you.
So can you shed some light on what is a technique? Like, what are some techniques that you might use to teach a child either a speech goal or something like that? Like, let's give our viewers some idea of what we're talking about. You want somebody to do something, and how do you go about getting them to do it?
Sure. One of the big examples that I can think of is a boy who, when I was teaching, came to us, again, nonverbal, unable to follow the simplest directions. You had to shadow almost his every move, and we were really thankful to be able to have the staffing at the time to kind of give him that. One of the strategies that we used was a wait strategy for him. So we were able to sit with him, give him a direction, and then wait him out until he was able to do it. Something as simple as coming over to sit in a chair was challenging for him. So I remember specifically waiting about 45 minutes one day for him to come over, and really just having that patience to wait for him to be able to get up and do it. The next day, it was only 30 minutes. The next day, it was 15 minutes. And then it became 1 minute. And then it became, he was following directions very easily. And he was able to function within the classroom and follow routines such as hanging up his backpack when he came to school. So the wait strategy is definitely a good strategy to use.
Did you use reinforcement at the end of that?
Absolutely.
Like we finally did it, so then you were like, woohoo!
Yep.
All sorts of.
Yep. You pull out all the stops then. Do your cartwheels and everything for him.
But I think part of what Jen's talking about too requires a lot of staffing. So that's great. I'm assuming this child didn't have a 1-to-1 aide, although sometimes they do. But sometimes it requires one person with that child for 45 minutes, which might not be feasible in every classroom. So
Yes.
at Crossroads, we tend to fundraise and use donations and money to support extra staffing for those situations. So all of our preschool rooms are integrated, which is a great opportunity for our children with special needs to have peer models. But sometimes it takes extra staffing to do that. So that those are in our classrooms. Often you will see more staff than what's on paper on ratio approved for, because we feel like in order to do best teaching and really give the children all those opportunities that you mentioned, that Jen mentioned, takes more staff than what state ed recognizes the classroom to be approved for. So we do have funding that comes from school districts and counties to support our programs, but all the other extra programs that we do, all the extra projects that we do don't always have the funding behind them. So we rely on grants and donations and fundraising to really support all those extra things that we do.
Awesome. Thank you.
The private sector of it, that draws in a lot of extra money, and but we have to follow strict regulations when you're not-for-profit, and that kind of hinders the ability to go out and just, make your own money. So it's a level, and that's, you have to start there. So you add all your private sectors to add to that, and fundraising. So fundraising, Giving Tuesday, all those help to fund extras that we need and want.
Our program is really individualized also. Our teaching strategies are really focused on one-to-one or small group ratios, and so we really need to have extra staff in order to support the intensity of the program and have it be really individualized. So we need to, the money that we get from the counties for tuition doesn't always cover what we feel would create the best program for the kids.
And it's a limit. There's a limit on how much that is. It's all decided for you. So you can, your school can be completely full with students, and so there's just no other way to make money unless you go outside of that with fundraising or private
Donations and
donations,
grants and
yeah.
things.
Or programs, like daycares and nurseries and that kind of thing.
From our two alumni parents, what about some of the services that your child might have needed? Could you talk about that at all?
Well, my son is now 19, so we're reaping all the benefits of Crossroads many years ago. But we had toured 5 different schools in the area, and really Crossroads stood out in terms of their passion and their dedication. And, as was said, the amount of individualized attention that Matthew got was such a great investment that now, we're reaping the benefits. It really was money that, or in time that was well spent, because the services he received was a great springboard for him for his future education.
There's not that many money going into autism therapy research, and I know how many other parents might not have the means to actually receive the service because of different insurance policy. And I think for me, I want to give back. I want to do what I can do to contribute back to an organization who really dedicate to serve not just children with autism, but children in general, to increase awareness about autism, talk about promotion of acceptance for all children with different special needs is what we need in the country we live in today.
Yeah, I came to Crossroads in 2003, and I barely knew what autism was. So I just was looking for a job, and so now it's been 13 and a half years, and the knowledge over those years, it started so, it starts low, and then I just learned so much, and the understanding, and so Crossroads has taught me a whole different level of children. I have, I don't have any experience other than working for Crossroads, and because I work in the business office, I don't have a child with autism, but I understand just from the parents and getting to know them and watching the kids change and learn and grow. And, over the years I've seen little ones come through the door that, all they did was cry, and then in a month they're, walking around independent and, proud that they feel the achievement that they're making. I don't think everyone understands that there's a lot of autism out there that people put it's like a stigma on that children understand, even though they have autism or another special needs, they understand. They're not invisible to your being there. I think Crossroads teaches those children to become individuals and to matter. That's what keeps me here. It's what keeps me donating, on other levels and volunteering for the fundraising and stuff like that. You can see that you're making a difference, and so the more people that we can get to understand what we do, the more they'll have passion in helping Crossroads grow.
Recently, I had so much fun going to BL's Tavern to attend Crossroads date night. It was a date night, and I'm so glad it was on my calendar.
So this is a fundraiser for Crossroads Center for Children. It's called Date Night, but you didn't have to bring a date. Some people are here by themselves. Some are with their friends or with their husbands or whatever. And we're at BL's Tavern on 208 Front Street, Schenectady. And we're trying to just raise money for Crossroads Center for Children, which is a wonderful school in Rotterdam. And we have kids with disabilities and without disabilities, but our biggest percent of our population is kids on the autism spectrum. And we're an applied behavior analysis school, and we're the only applied behavior analysis school in the area. And so we're the ones that are really making a difference because our work is researched and has data behind it to prove it. So all the people that are here tonight came to support us, and John and Joy Yates, which are around somewhere, they own this restaurant, and they are giving us the venue and all the food. They donated all the food. So everybody's donation goes straight into our programs tonight. And Joy's in the kitchen, and she just keeps not coming out. And that's all I have to say.
Kill me, Small.
This is Cindy Varkowski. She's on our board, and she has been since the beginning. And her son was one of our first students. And she would like to say something, too.
Hi, thank you for, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm glad we're here. Thank you for everybody's support. Yeah, we have a 22-year-old right over there sitting, eating. Events like this in the community are wonderful. Getting the word out about what we do, the families we help, the children. We have teachers here, we have parents here, we have board members. We're all a community. It takes a village. We appreciate, there's so much support out there, fundraisers, and we can't do it alone. And that's what's wonderful about being here and talking to people who don't know about autism or about the school. It's a wonderful way for all of us to spread what we do. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kelly Young. I'm the Executive Director of Crossroads Center for Children, and we are a school in Rotterdam, New York. We started with a handful of preschoolers with autism. Now we've expanded. We serve about 100 kids. Those include students with disabilities and students without disabilities. We serve kids in their home, in their community, and so we really have grown a lot of different areas, and we really rely on fundraising and community support through all the events that we do. So we're here at Date Night tonight down at BL's Tavern, which is one of our fundraisers. We've got some more coming up, Bowl-a-thon coming up in February, Autism Awareness Month in April, and those are big fundraisers for us. So we need all that. We're a private school. We rely on state funding, but for all those extra things that we do for the kids, we rely on fundraising and support from the community. So we're thankful for everyone that came out tonight. Unfortunately, the weather kept some people away, but we had probably 2/3 of the people that RSVP'd still braved the weather and came out. And it certainly looks like it's going to be profitable for us. We had great food, great turnout, great conversation, and we're really pleased with the way it turned out.
Hi, my name is Audrey Capers. I'm a new teaching assistant substitute at Crossroads. I love the job. I love the children. I love what they're doing. I've seen so much improvement in many of the kids, although I've only been there a little short of a month, and I've heard so many great success stories from a lot of the other staff. I look forward to being with Crossroads for some time in the future, and I hope that I could add to some of the success stories that I've heard so much. Hopefully the organization will get publicity out of tonight, as well as additional funds to keep the program going. Hopefully a lot of people will see this program and would decide to support Crossroads, either monetary, they always need items, maybe volunteering, so it would be a beautiful thing. The more support, the better. And just to add to the value of the world, actually, to see these children blossom and to have that on your conscience and life goals that you've helped a child to become all that they could be. So that's what I like.
Hi, my name's Rachel. I've been working at Crossroads now for about 16 years. It's such a great organization. We do so much to help the kids, and I came out for date night, a great fundraiser, which is super important for our organization being a nonprofit. We kind of rely on that to help us get things for the classroom and, so on and so forth. And, have a good night.
Well, it's date night, but we had to bring our son along too, like most dates. But anytime we can get to be together, it's a good time. But I'm glad we were able to help out tonight. Thank you.
Mom should get over there to make him laugh, though.
Hi, my name is John. Hi, my name is John Barkowski. I was in the first class at Crossroads. Thank you for your help.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Talk to the camera.
No.
Thank everybody for coming. This is a very, very needy cause, and we had a very, very successful evening. And thank everybody for participating. Thank you.
Thank you.
We fell in love with the school and the purpose, and we got involved with the golf tournament, and now John and we've now ran it for, I think, our 8th year, and we're planning next year's for September 11th at the Edison Club. Come join us.
Tonight was a very successful event. We had a lot of people show up, and we're really thankful for all of that. And also to Joy and John for putting this on for us. We also have lined up a bowl-a-thon that's February 12th. February 12th is our bowl-a-thon, right? Cindy will know. I think it's February 12th, and it's a Sunday, and that's a bowl-a-thon if anybody likes bowling. In March, we have a Yankee Candle event, which is a fundraiser that you can buy Yankee candles at a discount and support Crossroads. Then in April, we have our gala, which is a big thing. But the best thing to do, because I can't remember everything, is to go on our website at www.crossroadcenter.org. We have a fundraising page, and you can see our whole calendar for the whole year, because we're always having some kind of fun. And it all goes to help us run our program for our kids, which we need, because we have to raise a lot of our money for our program, for our budget. It has to be raised through grants, fundraising, and donations. So that's why we do so many of them. And we appreciate the help. Thank you. And good night.
Well, welcome back. I'm still trying to bake the muffins. But finally, I think we're finished. I hope you enjoyed our show today. If you would like to make an order or donate muffins to charity, then please go to the website listed below. With every muffin order, we donate muffins to the charity of your choice. I call it giving your dough to charity. I also encourage you to donate directly to the featured charity today by going directly to our website and getting their information. Thank you very much for watching, and keep on dancing through life by giving to others through love. Let me finish baking these muffins, and see you next time.
Do you know the Muffin